Hello, and welcome to another exciting episode of Cooking with Unity. I'm your host, Maximilian Moreau. With me is my co-host, Philip Wilson.
Howdy!
So, let's just get down to business, because I don't really have any pre-show banter in me today.
Let's get down to brass tacks.
Yep, right down to the brass tacks. Click a thingy. And...
click a thingy, start a thingy, Unity, thingy.
Something Unity, something, dark side. Alright.
Something, Unity.
Alright, so, on our last episode, we started working on the camera stuff a little bit. And it doesn't look a whole lot different than what we had before, although it's jerkier. Yeah, I forgot. We have bugs to fix.
Something, mono-develop.
Yeah. Alright, so we've got some jerkiness to deal with, and we're still rotating kind of stupidly.
Do you think this has to do with the shake effect?
I know. I think it's completely separate of the shake effect. Though we could test that pretty easily.
By turning off the shake
effect.
Yeah.
Because it's definitely shaking when you hit the ground and then stopping and then...
Yeah, but it seems like a different variety of shaking.
Yeah. Well, it's shaking even when we're not touching the ground, too. That's a pretty good sign that it's not the shake effect.
Oh, yeah, good call.
Alright, so, am I going to take a look at that problem first off, just to completely kill any momentum we might have had on the show? Probably, because that's just kind of how I roll. It's funny. So this project, we're doing completely monolithic player movement thing, and then on the other project, we're doing completely separate thing. Actually, I'm actually kind of excited because it'll show people two different ways of working, and it'll probably allow them to choose their own path based on how they see things go. Yeah. So,
choose your destiny.
Choose your destiny. All right. So, what are we doing?
That's the question I ask myself every single day.
So right now, camera is not attached to the player, and we're using a camera AI. I just want to really quickly attach the camera back to the player and just see if it gets rid of the shaking. That's another way of telling. Okay, well, the shaking caused a problem there because the camera is moving with something else, because we're shaking a lot of different other stuff. That's a weird problem, but you can see that the shaking definitely went away. So it has to do with how we've implemented this. Detach the main camera. I just undid out of those ones real quick.
Let's turn
camera AI back on, and so let's see what it does again.
I think it's an order of operations error.
Yeah, probably. Let's see if I set this really slow. What does it do?
It was better when it was really slow. I remember that.
Still pretty bad.
Yeah, I have a feeling it's. Like maybe the player movement needs to happen before it or something like that. Something is some calculation is happening at the wrong time. Or at least a time that we aren't expecting it to.
Yep. Let's see what we got for script execution order. Did we do anything? We did. I think we moved it back.
We did, but then we got rid of it.
Alright. So the camera AI...
Maybe make the player movement script go before the camera AI. Make it execute first. Worth a shot.
Yeah, maybe. Let's try that first. I thought we tried that last time, but let's give it a shot.
I can't remember.
Alright, so script execution order. We're going to make the camera AI happen last, and let's explicitly make the player movement happen first. Hit apply. Hit play.
Nope, still doing it.
Yep, still doing it.
Yeah, I think we did try that.
Alright, so... Well, thanks a lot. No, I'm kidding.
Well, you know.
Alright, so I'm just curious if we do these things. Maybe do the actual... So wait, player movement... I swear we tried this once too, actually. I'm going to...
I think we tried this as well. Yep.
Let's do late update up here. Save. Hit play.
Still very bumpy.
Let's try making the camera movement happen first.
Oh. mixing it up.
Yeah. I have a feeling we're not going to
I don't
fix
think
this
it's
on
going to make a difference.
the beginning of this episode, evidently. Nope, doesn't look like it makes any difference.
Something is being rather jerky with that camera.
Maybe it has something to do with... Let's try this. Because we're doing rigid body stuff on this guy, even though we're doing kinematic. Let's give a shot to... Wait, we're doing kinematic on the player?
I think so, yeah.
Then why are we doing it in fixed update?
Maybe
Just
that's
do
the problem.
Update. Let's see if that fixes things up. Already defined. Okay, we already had an update. So we have an update up there.
Why don't you just call it...
So, fixed update. I'm just going to... Oh, you just call it as a function?
Yeah.
Update 2. All right.
Yeah, just to check it out.
Yeah,
I mean,
might as well.
it's the worst that's
Saves
gonna
us the
happen.
code, so... Hit play. Let's see what happens. Oh!
It was fixed update.
Beautiful.
That makes
a lot of
actually.
sense. So we don't want to be using fixed update because we're not actually using physics, even though it looks like we're using physics because he has a rigid body. And so it was actually only updating every 1/50th of a second rather than 1/60th of a second, and so that disparity was causing our horrible shakiness.
Yeah, which makes sense because the camera wasn't actually following it during
Yeah.
that time. It was just jumping to where it would be.
Yay.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yay.
All right, fixed update.
All right,
could
now I'm actually going to
implement
make
that.
it not ugly looking.
It was a quick and dirty fix, though.
Actually, why not? Let's actually get in the habit of doing this anyway. So what is this actually doing here? This is
It says gravity vector.
yeah, so I'm just gonna put it in there. I don't care.
Yeah, either way, I mean,
Yeah. Because if I do it the other way, I'll feel obligated to put the other thing in a function too, so that it reads like what's going on, which actually is not a bad habit, but let's just do it like this for now. So so we still need camera shake logic. That looks good.
well, I'm happy about that. That was
already
unexpectedly easy.
Much better than last time already. Yay.
Yeah, it looks great now.
So now we can actually loosen up the camera a little bit more. So let's go back to our main camera because what we were doing before was actually testing to see if the camera would overshoot or anything.
And now
So
it's just interesting how sometimes simple those fixes are.
yeah.
I think it's still too much.
Still way too fast. How fast does the player actually move? Player has, what is movement speed? Speed 10. So let's make the camera speed 15.
Yeah,
Else, actually, I guess it will only
15.
let's do 9.
Okay. That is a looser camera, that's for sure. It's kind of neat. Try putting it at speed like 7.
Okay. Speed 7.
I don't know why. That's more like what I was expecting. What do you think of that speed?
I think it's pretty good.
It seems pretty decent. Still was a little jerk there when you...
I think it managed to shake the camera. I think it thought I fell somehow.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was expecting the camera, what we were kind of going for, at least I think.
At least for the initial stuff, this is gonna kind of sort of work. All right, cool. Okay.
So we were wanting to do more
So,
like relative controls?
Yeah, so we're going to do more of a relative control thing. And then what we might do... Okay, so to do the relative control... Let's just play around with that. So let's go to player movement real quick. And so right now, our player movement is if you... Wait, where's our buttons?
Button, who's got the button? Where are our buttons? Are we just doing a get access?
Yeah, I think we are.
Yeah, there it is, right there at the top.
Thank you. All right, so we're changing our position based on the vertical axis, and then we're rotating based on the horizontal axis. And so it kind of drives like a remote control car, like you rotate in place, or a remote control tank. Really, you rotate in place and then you press forward and you start moving that direction. It doesn't look as bad because we're actually camera locked kind of behind, as like Resident Evil. Resident Evil felt really out of body experience type thing.
Tank controls.
Yeah, it worked for the game, and it was kind of a requirement for how they implemented it at the time.
Yeah, it wasn't really possible since there was a 2D background.
Yeah, exactly. They had to do something.
Characters.
And they could have done camera relative, but camera relative is a lot more math consuming, which might be exciting for this episode. It's not going to be that much different, but so right now we're changing the transform position based on the transform up, and so the transform up is our replacement value for transform forward because of the way that we've set this up.
Yes.
Weird way that we've done this. So I'm going to actually change it so that instead of it being based on the it'll still be based on input.getAxis, but it'll be based on camera relative movement.
Okay. And
what that means is whatever direction the camera is facing will determine kind of the way that the controls move the character. So instead of doing just transform up times transform to getAxis, I'm not going to worry about rotation for right now because we aren't going to be able to see it, honestly, the way that we're going to set this up, and we'll have to do something to fix that, which I believe might require some art time, but which might be exciting. I should have put in the description to download Sculptress if you want to follow along, because we're probably going to open up Sculptress at some point. It's free. Search for Sculptress. It's a 3D program by good old ZBrush people. Pixelogic, is that their company?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
But I can find out.
But yeah, I think it's Pixelogic. But you're welcome to double check me. So, so instead of doing transform.up, we're going to be using camera.transform.
Is this the program?
Yep, that's the program.
It's Pixelogic.
That's what I said.
Yep.
Camera.main.transform.forward. We're going to just do forward for now because we're kind of got the thing positioned. And right now we're going to be creating kind of a very basic setup here, as opposed to, like, I'm not guaranteeing this is going to work entirely intuitively at first. I just want to get something on paper here that actually does something. So we're going to do camera.transform.forward times input.getAxis vertical plus camera.main.transform.right times input.getAxis horizontal. And then we multiply this whole thing by speed and time.delta time. So what this is we're getting the forward vector of the camera, and we're multiplying that by our vertical, so our up-down movement. Mm-hmm. So wherever the camera's pointed, that's where it's going to move the player forward or backward. And then we are getting the right transform of the camera, and then we're multiplying that by horizontal. So the thing is, if the vertical axis is negative, it'll be negative, so it will actually be equivalent to the transform backwards, so you'll move backwards, and then if you're pressing left, it'll be negative, so in the horizontal. Mm-hmm. And so this should theoretically make things kind of move. We're making some assumptions here because the camera no longer really has we're not rotating the character anymore. So now when you turn left, we actually like move left and right. And you can see how it's kind of changed a little bit on how we're operating this now.
I'm so happy the camera's smooth.
Yeah, me too. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, it definitely is operating differently.
Yeah, let me try, I just want to see what happens. If we go to main camera and we set the camera speed real low now. I wonder why it seems like the camera can keep catching up with the player. Because you would think that with the player movement at the speed that it's at, the camera would not be able to catch up. So the camera speed. Yep, time delta time's in there, and then player movement. We've got time delta time, right? Yep. Yeah, weird.
I wouldn't worry too much about it right now.
I'm not too worried about it. I just was curious. Let's try 1.
Should be quite a ways behind us.
There
at
we
that
go.
Point. Whoa.
So right now it still feels really odd compared to like what we imagine a Mario Galaxy game type of view and movement to work. Well, that was weird. Evidently somehow landed on the planet well after the fact. Whatever. But it kind of does control differently, and it's doing kind of what we want. So now we also want the rotation to actually kind of work in some meaningful way. So we have a rotation speed. We can still keep using that here. So what we're going to do is we're going to rotate... we're going to change the...
The question of any updates for mobile controls?
none yet, sorry. Been really busy.
Understandably so.
What were we doing here? Wait, we rotate the player based on that stuff, and then later we rotate him again for what?
Good measure?
Oh, I see. That's to rotate him towards the gravity stuff. Got it.
Oh,
got it.
that
got
makes
it.
sense.
So, so what we want to actually do is... Alright, so instead of transform.rotate here, we're going to do something similar to this line. I'm just going to copy it. And what we're going to do is we want to rotate towards the direction of movement. So what would be the best way to determine the direction of movement here? So I'm going to create a vector 3 movement direction, and we're going to make that this. So we're going to say equals that thing, and we're going to replace that thing with that. What?
Why did it center?
Mono develop, you're drunk again. Gonna have to cut you off at some point here. Alright, so we don't need these anymore because it's a nice, simple statement now. And why is that not okay? Oh, because we need to get rid of this. We don't need that anymore. So I'm gonna hit save, and so now we have a movement direction. And so we're gonna rotate the character towards the movement direction. So we're gonna do so transform.rotation still is the first parameter because that's the initial rotation.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to do quaternion.look rotation. Transform.up. So this time we want to actually look him towards I want to look towards the movement direction, but the problem with this is because of how we've set him up, that doesn't really mean the thing that we think it means. Because remember, transform.up is technically our forward vector, because if we go to our player right now, you'll see that his z-axis, which is normally the forward vector, is actually pointed up, and then the direction he actually goes forward is this green axis, which is the y-axis, which is actually transformed up. So we don't want movement direction itself. We want some variety of movement direction based on rotate, movement direction dot. What do we got on here? Scale set to string. Alright, no, not a whole lot of fun stuff to play with here. There's a few fun things, but
Not really what you're looking for, though.
no. Alright, so we have a movement direction. It's some random vector in space. And we want to align the player's up axis with that. And I'd optimally like to be able to use look rotation to do so.
I have a quick question.
Sure
Is
thing.
Sculptress easier to learn than Blender 3D?
Yes. Is it as useful as Blender 3D? Probably not. And also, I'm going to warn you ahead of time, it's made by the people who make ZBrush, which means it crashes all the time. And it's an alpha, which means it crashes even more of the time. But unlike ZBrush, it actually autosaves sometimes, so sometimes you can actually get your
there you
work
go.
back, which is nice. I don't know why that's not in ZBrush yet, but considering ZBrush is an expensive program that is one of those programs where artists use it and they're like, yeah, I need this program because it does the things I need it to do, but I really wish that it wasn't a pile of garbage.
If, if you already know Blender, it would be worth it probably to stick with Blender.
Yeah, there's some uses for it. The thing is, it's quick and dirty for making things, which is why I'm going to do it on the show, because I am not an artist. I've said this many a time. So we have a movement direction. We want to... God.
So up is actually not up for us.
Yeah, up is actually not up. So we either have to fix it here. So we're using quaternion.look rotation in two places, and I did it this way because I was lazy and didn't want to figure out this thing that I'm now stumped with. All right, let's see. Let's see if there's. Let's just try the internet. Why not? Unity. Rotation. Y-axis. Why not? Let's just see what that does. Rotation only on y-axis. Okay, he wants to only affect. That's not exactly what we wanted. Okay, look rotation along y-axis. How to make look rotation use X instead of Z. This should be similar. You can apply look rotation with an appropriate fixed rotation. So... Okay, so we do it as a two-stepper here. So you take the look rotation of whatever... Let's see if this works. Why not? So I don't want that last line because we're kind of going to change that one a bit. So
Did that have a slurp?
so
in it?
look rotation, we're going to do movement direction, and the upward axis, I'm going to use the last gravity vector to determine that. So we'll do gravity vector. And then what we're going to do is... Actually, I want negative gravity vector. So then we're going to do from to rotation. We want to change vector 3 forward to vector 3 dot up. And then finally, we'll do look rotation and use this rot variable. So actually, we don't even need to use the rot variable. We get rid of the look rotation. So that may do it, assuming that their script stuff works the way that it should, which it probably does, but we'll see. So let's see what happens. I'm going to hit play. Oh, okay. Well, we turned around. Oh, wow.
That's interesting. Are we still updating look rotation?
We're still rotating way too fast on this now.
Is there another place that we're using the look rotation up? 'Cause I think you said it was in multiple places.
I think that was the multiple places, but let's go ahead and double check. Yeah, I think it's just in player movement. It's those two locations.
And we already updated it on the second one?
We don't need to change it on the second one.
Oh, okay.
Because the second one works the way that we want it to work because we were using the Z-axis in that case.
Okay.
We only have to fix it on one of them. Honestly, I should probably fix it on that one, though, so we may switch this around once we actually get it working here. But what I'm going to change is we're going to go to the main camera, and we're going to make it not 900 degrees rotation speed. We're going to make it 90 degrees a second. Let's see what that does. Alright, so... So let's see. Yeah, it's really unhappy right now. Let's actually go back and lock the camera again. I'm going to just put him on the player. And I'm going to turn off the camera AI. And I'm also just going to, for right now, turn off the shake camera stuff.
Still on trigger enter?
Just get rid of that.
Oh, no, it's not. Sorry, never mind.
Oh, wait, we'll do it here. So we need to get rid of that and that. File save. So we hit play, and...
That likes to spin.
Move backwards is fine. Move forwards, he starts freaking out. Did I do something stupid here? Probably. The movement direction is camera.main.transfer.forward times input axis vertical plus camera.main.transfer.right. Weird.
So it just spins around in circles when you try moving forward now.
Yeah, but it doesn't do it when I'm moving backwards, which is really weird.
Yeah, a little bit odd.
Well, rotation viewing vector is 0. Let's see what that's doing.
You don't think that it happens if you switch down enough? Or not down enough, but forward and back.
Separate thing. I'm sure it will work the same way, except for, like, you mean like that?
Nope.
What do you mean, the forward?
The backward from rotation forward to up.
Oh, okay. I think this is going to cause real problems.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, I was talking about from backwards to up. You said it was working fine when you were backwards. That's weird. I don't know. Try it.
I want to see what this does anyway. This should make the player do some weird stuff, maybe. Or not.
Or it'll work.
Pretty much kind of the way I wanted it to work.
Yeah, but with the gravity vector, of course, isn't affected currently, but...
What do you mean the gravity vector?
No, I mean, it's like the player isn't actually rotating along the planet like it should be.
Oh, weird. I wonder why it's doing that.
That I do not know.
Because at the end we do rotate towards...
It's because we parented our object funny and we changed the rotation on it, probably.
Oh, yeah, thank you. We gotta put this back into...
That's why it was acting funky.
Yeah,
that makes more sense. Okay. I bet we could actually change it back to the other way it's supposed to be if we change our player's transform. Because it's in a parent transform object. It's in a parent object, and we've rotated that object so that up would work.
What have we done? Yeah, no, we don't care. The player, we're not paying attention to him. No, we don't care about that. All right, let me just reverse these back again. I want forward and vector 3 dot up. And
not doing that.
MonoDevelop likes doing that a lot now, which is not cool. So now we hit left, and it does that. We hit right, and it does that. It's very strange. All right, let's see if we can actually see what he's doing in the scene here while we do this. So where's our player? Our player's somewhere on the planet.
And So the rotation of the parented object does not matter right
Shouldn't. We're not affecting the child at all. We're just affecting the parent.
now. Okay.
All right, let's try. This is looking promising. I'm going to try doing this. Just in case. So movement direction is transform forward times input IQ axis vertical. Alright, let's give this a shot because that may or may not do something, maybe.
I find it odd that it bumps along.
That was probably happening before. It was just hard for us to see. Actually, no. I know why it bumps around. I can tell you that why. Because it's using the camera forward. Right now, we can fly up into the sky in certain situations. So, because right now we're just literally taking the funny bone. All right.
Not very funny.
No, not funny at all. There goes my left hand for typing. All right. All right. So, all right, we're wandering through code at this point and math in directions that evidently I'm not totally. So movement direction times speed times delta time, rotation along the movement direction. Let's get rid of the up. Let's just see what happens if we get rid of this and just do it.
Okay.
And then from to rotation transfer vector 3 dot forward to vector 3 dot up. All right, let's try it.
I find it odd that it rotates around like that.
Okay, so we have no movement direct. Okay, I see the problem. I see part of the problem. Maybe. All right, so is he actually moving along the direction that I think he is? So we're going to hit play. I'm going to minimize this. So we hit forward, and he turns around. So he really shouldn't be turning around. So let's go back and try.
What happens if you do change that vector 3 forward to a vector 3 backward?
This one?
Yeah. You reverse it.
Let's do it.
So with everything being reversed, it just seems might as well try it.
All right, so let's see what it
I don't think
does.
that's doing what I'm...
It's closer, I think. But let's see.
Is it though?
So press forward, and he's moving along that y-axis. Now, he's doing some nastiness when we stop moving because of what we're doing here. What are we doing here?
That's very odd. He's bouncing.
It does look like he actually is going kind of the right direction now.
The directions that you're expecting.
All right, I'm going to make the camera really rigid. I'm not going to actually, I'm just going to make it really fast and really rotatey.
So we can understand exactly what we're doing?
Yeah.
That seems more like what we're expecting.
Seems more like what we're expecting. Though we're having trouble with him not obeying the gravity vector anymore. And that's because we're rotating him. It's because we have this gravity rotation rate thing. Alright, let's make the gravity rotation rate really, 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 really fast. For right now. So, gravity rotation rate. 9. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Interesting is a word you can use for it.
Undo. I need to play with this stuff more in the off season. All right, so so the rotation we're changing to be based on the movement direction, then we're modifying it so that let's not do this. Let's just do this.
Okay.
And let's just see what it does. I know this is going to be wrong, but I want to see what it actually ends up doing. So we're going to probably end up, well, maybe not. All right, so we press forward.
So, that's weird.
I think it's because we're fighting each other on two quaternion rotate towards, which doesn't shock me too much. Let's make this instantaneous. So I'm going to just temporarily comment that out, and we're going to change this to this little toy here. Save. Hit play. Yeah, we're fighting ourselves really bad.
We shouldn't fight ourselves.
Let's look at what we had before. All right, Perforce time. So I took the liberty before the show of actually setting up the depot with our initial setup here for Perforce. I've said that I'm going to be showing this stuff on the show just because I want people to get into the idea, into the habit of having good
versioning software.
version stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reconcile. Oops, I'm going to go to my workspace and choose reconcile offline work real quick. So this will just check to see what we've changed. I'm going to reconcile, and then we're going to do our pending change list. And so we've got our player movement.cs here. I'm going to right click it, and we're going to choose, where is it? Diff against have revision. So what this will do is it will open up P4 merge, and it will show us the differences between what we had at the start of the show and what we have now. So on the left side is what we had at the start of the show, and on the right side is what we have now. And so we can now see what we were doing before. So before we were doing a rotate, and we're just rotating around the vertical axis for the player, and then later we would update the gravity vector. Now we had it in fixed update before, so we moved some of this stuff around, so it looks a little strange between the two sides here.
Yeah, we added it into the update loop from the fixed update loop.
Yeah. So what we're gonna have to do is, okay, I know what we can do. Actually, I'm just gonna continue editing on this one again. So let's make it so that we only do one transform rotation call.
Sounds like a good idea.
And let's start the calculation stuff further down here. I'm still gonna do the movement direction stuff up above. And let's put this stuff down here-ish. So now we can do, so look rotation movement direction, and this time we want to have the upward vector be negative gravity vector, I think. Wait, what's it, so what is this doing? This looks along, oh yeah, that's right. So the up, all right, it's time to do it. It's time to freaking do it. Save. Just want to get this thing saving. Maybe it will. Nope, it has some problem. So let's do.
We're referring to Rod.
Yeah. get rid of that, and then we'll need this as well, I guess. I'll just get rid of that comma for now. So what we're going to do is I'm first going to make it so the player actually doesn't face our stupid way anymore. We're going to actually make him face Z like we should have done from the beginning. I told you I reserve the right to change these things at any time. I'm changing them.
Yes.
So, so the player geometry in this case, so we want him to face forward. So we're going to just zero out all the vectors here. So it's kind of like a normal setup here. And then we're going to now make the player geometry fit that better. So we're going to do, that should be fine actually.
Just needs to be at the base of the object.
Oh yeah, because we don't want the Z. We want, so Z shouldn't be 1. This should be 0. The
And
Y should be 1.
Probably be.
Yeah, there we go.
Is that right?
So now we have it on
Yep.
the base. So now forward is actually forward. We don't have to do any of the transform up nonsense except for in the case of the gravity vector, which we need to determine. So for the look rotation stuff. So might not even be that bad a deal right now.
I don't think it will be.
Yeah, I think this is actually going to work way better now. So I'm going to comment this out for right now. So we don't need to have the fanciness here anymore. We're just going to look at the movement direction,
That also means.
and we're going to use the vertical of negative gravity vector. And then we're going to transform. Dot rotation rotates towards, and we don't need to do, well, we can do rot, I guess. We could really just integrate that in there, but I'll just do it for like that.
Yeah,
for now.
let's just keep it with the placeholder.
And so we do transfer position twice. Okay, that's fine, because the second one's for getting the gravity information in there. So let's take a look, see at what we've just broken in this. Okay, so one of the tricks is we need to go to our camera AI, where there was another place where it was assuming the player upwards. So rotation, goal rotation is player dot forward and player dot up now, like it should be. So let's give it another play here. All right, we're kind of freaking out, but we're trying. We're trying real hard.
Definitely freaking out.
Yep. Alright. So transfer rotation equals dot rotate towards. Alright. So we're looking along the movement direction. The movement direction is a vector based on the camera transform forward, modified by the vertical movement. Alright. So let's Okay, so we're going to make quaternion. I'm going to get rid of the underscore because it scares me.
Yeah, I don't like it either.
Going to put this up here and declare it. Then we're going to do if. I'm kind of doing things in a really bizarre order here. So if movement direction dot magnitude is greater than, actually let's use square magnitude. Square magnitude is greater than 0.01 f. Then we do the look rotation based on movement direction. Else, we're going to do it based on the current facing. So it'll be quaternion.look rotation, and we're going to use transform.forward. So this should make it so when we stop moving, it doesn't do as weird of things. And we need to get rid of this underscore here so that everything will still work. I'm going to hit save, and we're going to hit play. So Still kind of freaking out.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Alright, if we don't have the camera... Okay, let's fix our camera. I'm going to make the camera not have an AI. So we're going to test our camera relative control real good right here. So, let's just hit play. So if I press left, I move left. Am I actually facing left? So if I go to my player, yep, I'm facing left. If I press right, I'm facing right. If I press forward, I'm facing forward.
Yeah, it's functioning.
So it's actually
how you're
functioning
expecting.
right. So it's actually because we're fighting the camera, or the camera's fighting us.
One of the two.
Yeah, kind of a combination of the two. So let's go back to our camera. Oh yeah, we've got the camera rotation speed set to a ridiculous value. That's our problem. Let's make it 90 again. And let's make our camera speed, what do you have, 7?
Sure, yeah.
So let's hit play now and see what we do. So if I press left now, kind of sort of works. Player sometimes doesn't feel like he's really on the right axis for regarding against the planet.
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me.
Yeah, why didn't he reorient?
That's a very good question that I do not know the answer to.
Alright, let's figure it out. So if I jump, he's still being affected by gravity appropriately.
So that's good.
That is good. So
It's something with our... Oh, well, we aren't actually calculating the gravity vector anymore.
yeah, we are. Gravity vector
Oh, it's up
equals, yeah. Minus gravity vector. Transform that forward minus gravity vector. Hit play again. I just want to see what happens here. So, just gonna move it back like that. For some reason, he's just really happy with just being like that.
Not rotating?
You know.
Where are we exactly?
Oh, I know the problem. Okay, so what's happening here is we're using the gravity vector for the vertical. That doesn't guarantee that the vertical will actually be locked to that. It just means that it's using that as a heads-up reference so that it doesn't do anything funky. So we actually need that vertical rotate. So we need to actually figure out... We might have to use a cross product.
Okay.
Alright, so we don't want him to actually just look in the movement direction. We want him to look in the movement direction, but... Am I coding myself into a corner? It feels like I'm doing that. Alright, I'm going to save this. I'm going to check in what we've got so far. That way we can use the power of version control to save our bacon if something bad happens. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do one more quick reconcile just to make sure that we didn't make any other changes.
I don't think so.
Actually, we did make some other changes. I want to actually save the scene, save the project, one more reconcile. I feel like that menu is 60 times longer than it actually has to be. So now we're going to submit what we've got here. Mid-episode tweaking gravity, tweaking movement to be camera relative. Still have a bug related to vertical facing. Submit. So now, what are we gonna do? So we want to not just do transform.forward. We want... we should use... so we have the movement direction, and we have the gravity vector.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm just thinking here. Sometimes I'm just thinking about things.
Most times I'm just thinking about things. I'd say that's appropriate.
So we already switched up position, so that's a true... so gravity vector is solid. The problem is our movement direction really shouldn't be just the camera transform forward. It should be the amount that the camera transform forward affects the direction of the player. Maybe. All right, let's talk through what's going on right now. Let's do some commenting too. So, movement direction right now represents the camera forward and rightward vectors modified by the input. We then move the appropriate amount in this direction. This actually should technically be normalized. I don't think it's going to actually solve. It's not a magic bullet for our problems right now, but I'm going to put it right there. Because otherwise we have more than, like, if we have the Turok problem actually without that. We have the, when you're moving forward and right, you move twice as fast as when you're moving just forward.
Yes.
Which is funny that Turok shipped like that, but, you know, it happens.
Turok, the dinosaur hunter.
Yes. Alright. So jump logic stuff. Actually, jump logic is there, so I'm going to get rid of that. And we don't do this anymore. We put that into the velocity calculation. Save. Alright, so then we figure out gravity vector to current planetoid. Alright. We now rotate the player to face our movement direction. Currently does not rotate the player relative to the gravity vector. And I'm going to get rid of this long line.
Just going to get rid of it?
Yeah. And then finally, this is move player based on gravity. Actually, based on velocity. Currently only uses gravity for calculation. Save. Alright. Make sure things still kind of work.
I'm pretty sure they will.
Alright, let's end the episode with something fun. I'm opening Sculptress. We're going to make a Mario head or something. Alright, so this is Sculptress. And that's the right resolution here. Sculptress is a 3D program that is uses the, clay type of modeling.
Which is what ZBrush
So
is.
yeah, which is ZBrush is basically building things out of clay, and ZBrush is usually used for taking existing models and adding detail and maps and stuff too. And this one's kind of more for modeling itself, but you can also bring models in and adjust them and stuff. So I'm going to so I'm not entirely familiar with this interface, so let's just start with some eyes. And I'm going to need a mouse for this. Hold on. So we've got, well, those are the creepy eyes.
Yeah, they really
Told you I'm not an artist, so this is going to be awful. So let's give him some eye ridges. And let's sink in his face for a mouth. How do we do that?
I'm surprised we aren't doing sunken eyes
No, I like them to pop out.
to be bulgy.
Yeah, I like them to bulge out. And so how do we make something go in? Flatten, grab, pinch, smooth, inflate, crease. Is
Crease sounds right. Yep, that's it.
Is that it?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, let's give them big lips. Why not? Just can I make the size of these a little bit different? So what are we doing? So these buttons. So something about the ZBrush people is they really like graphics tablets, and so a lot of these options don't actually do anything if you don't have one. So like if you click these, you're like, what does that actually do? What these actually affect is it means what pressure affects on your graphics tablet, which we don't have one. So I'm going to make the size a little bit smaller, and this is so stupid. So I'm going to undo that. So we can also set the detail, which will make it so that it's not creating quite as many polygons when we do this.
It's a source control question.
So
Source control related question. I had to do a clean to get my save.
save my bacon.
Oh yeah, save my bacon. Now I have 3 errors of refresh, case, sensitivity, failure. Everything runs fine though. Any ideas?
You're using SVN, and what you just described is part of the reason that I didn't choose to use SVN on the show. You already had to run a clean operation, which honestly I don't understand why that has to happen ever. And then I haven't run into that one yet. Here, let's see what let's see if I can find out.
Refresh, case, sensitivity, failure.
Sensitivity failure. Unity community. So they said that it seemed like it was related to thumbs.db and thumbs.db.meta. I'm not sure if that's actually true. So this is actually a bug that you're getting on Unity, not on SVN. So that's weird.
A little bit weird.
Huh. Yeah, not quite sure. I would check to see if you have any thumbs.db or maybe even ds.store files in there that make it unhappy for some reason. What it sounds like, it sounds like a problem where like the file case changed or something and the meta file no longer associates with it properly, but I'm not quite sure if that's actually the case. That's just a speculation. Sorry I don't have a whole lot of information of this right now.
Yep.
But yeah, weird. Yeah, I don't know. Sorry about that.
I also do not know.
Anyway, let's just finish up our really ugly Mario kind of person. Let's give him some stupid lips. There we go. That looks like lips. And let's make a hat for him, kind of. Let's see if we can make a hat. I'm just going to, like, pull up. Just inflate his head somehow. I don't know. Maybe this will do
That
something.
sounds terrifying.
That's really bad. Alright, let's just do this. Let's just make it huge. Just be like... And then let's pull it kind of out this way, maybe. I don't know what I'm doing.
I've never used this program, so
What does flatten do?
Makes his head look like a cone more.
Yeah, okay, flattens things, I guess. Reduce selected, draw, rotate, scale, grab, smooth. Let's smooth out his head a little bit. How can I pull it out in such a way? There we go. There, that looks like a beret. A butt. He's a butt
Looks
head.
like a butt head. Yes, it does.
Alright, I'm keeping it.
I like it.
We're going to have a butt head.
Yeah,
and,
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, that's enough for right now. I'm going to go ahead and just click paint. Actually, I'm going to reduce detail first. So we're going to go to reduce brush. What this does is it allows us to lower the number of polygons in areas that don't need to have ridiculous amounts of detail. It's actually pretty smart about it, as long as it doesn't crash. Which I'm not going to guarantee won't happen.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's not surprising that it would crash during an operation like that.
Honestly, this program is magic. I can't tell you how much math goes behind what's going on here. So, all right. So let's do a paint, and let's do a resolution. Let's just make it ridiculous because we'll lower it later. And then let's just very quickly make him look like something. So we're just going to. Can we make the whole thing flesh colored somehow? Is there a fill? Fill, excellent. So
Hey.
let's.
I'm Phil.
You are Phil. So we're gonna fill
What? Again?
yellow. No, yellow's too yellow.
Yeah, I agree. Should make him more like a pinkish, maybe.
Fill. Yeah,
Oh, there you
that looks kind of humanish, kind of, sort of. We'll definitely keeping the butt that same color at the very least, and then let's just quickly airbrush some detail. So I'm gonna go black for his eyebrows for right now. I wish that shortcut that I'm just so used to from Photoshop worked here. I keep pressing left and right bracket, hoping that's going to change the size, but it doesn't. So we'll just kind of spray paint that, and we'll give him some real red lips. Oh yeah, nice lipstick on that. And then let's give him some white eyeballs.
Oh, they're gonna be white?
Yeah, I think so. Or do you want them bloodshot red?
No. Actually, no, I don't.
Scary enough as it is.
Yeah. But you should make his butt head a pompadour.
And so do we want him to have... What color eyes should he have?
Green.
Green? Alright.
Just a different color.
And make it smaller, and we'll just give him, like, something that makes him really derp out. Yeah, that's good.
Give him a pompadour.
Give him he already has a pompadour, kind of. I can't change the geometry. Oh, you want this to actually be hair color?
Yeah.
And not butt color?
Yeah. Yeah, actually, yes.
It's so funny with the butt.
Well, then give it a crack. I don't know.
Alright, we'll give it a little...
A
We're gonna make this
crease.
incredibly, not safe for work.
I don't think it's going to be
No,
not
okay.
safe for work.
Alright. What I was gonna do was going to...
Well...
Alright, let's make it into a pompadour, you're right. Let's not make it ridiculous. So, let's make it bigger. That's too big.
That's too big.
Alright, so we'll just...
There you go.
I don't like how that ended up on his eyebrows, so let's just kind of go around his skull. Give him a little bit of a crazy pompadour.
That is fairly fantastic.
It's really art heavy compared to our usual stuff, honestly. So,
Alright.
there we go.
Okay, I'm good
There's
with
our
that.
completely retarded character head. So I'm going to hit save or whatever it is that you do on this thing. So let's save it as a thing first. So let's call it, let's just call it stupid head.
Oh, I was going to call it Pompadourian.
Okay, Pompadourian. Hopefully I spelled that right.
I don't know. It doesn't matter.
And then we're going to export an OBJ file. So Pompadourian. And then we're going to also... How do we actually export the texture?
Doesn't get exported when you go to
Let's
OBJ.
find out. Well, I know that OBJ doesn't actually contain texture information, so let's see what we got here. I know we can do this. Save, export, new plane, import, open. Texture actually allows you to paint with textures, which is kind of cool. All right, I'm gonna look up the internet. Save texture Sculptris. All right, says that they're in there somewhere.
The normals. They're not normals, but the. God, I can't think.
Huh. Show advanced tools. There it is. It's advanced. All right, save text map. So we're gonna call this Pompadourian texture.
I don't know why I like the name Pompadourian.
I like
so
it.
much.
And there's our texture map. So that's actually really exciting. So you can see that this automatically does UV unwrapping for us. So that's what it sliced him up. And this is, as you can see, this is not a terribly useful file to modify manually. That's the one problem with the way that it unwraps. It's all automatic. You don't have any control over it.
Yeah.
If you were doing this in Blender, you would set the seams up in such a way that this would
These would be
somewhat
packed
meaningful.
more
And part of the reason that you would is because painting in Blender is not all that great, so you usually end up doing painting in 2D. Actually, painting in most 3D programs is not all that great.
That is true.
So
ZBrush maybe being the exception.
yeah, that's ZBrush. These guys understand how to make the interface for that type of stuff. So I'm just going to go ahead and quit Sculptris now, and we're going
That
to
is
go back
actually
into our more
mostly
install game.
What ZBrush is used for.
And I'm going to create a folder called tech. Oh wait, we've already got textures. I'm going to make a models. We're going to drag in. We're kind of going over time here, but I don't really care.
It's just a model.
It's only a model. And Pompadourian came with some materials. I actually should have imported. Actually, I'm gonna undo this. So the better order to do things. Delete this. Is you want to actually add your texture in first,
Yes.
because then what happens is
The
it
model-
might find them. Actually, it's probably not going to find them because
Yep,
it probably has
still
its own name for them. So I'm going to click it in here. Okay, it still did the same thing. So if we go to our Pompadourian and drag him into the scene right now, you'll see that he doesn't have texture.
Pompadourian. Oh, he looks creepy.
What is wrong with him?
Default Unity texture, probably.
No, I think it has to do with the way that we're... Okay, so we actually want... Normals we're going to calculate and hit apply. There, that fixed that. And we don't have animation, so we're just going to do none, apply. That doesn't matter anymore. And material naming by base texture naming, that's fine. So he has a material. I'm going to put the Pompadourian texture into it. And there you go. We've got Pompadourian.
His derpy eyes are cracking me.
And so I don't really like how big he ended up. So I'm going to change his scale factor here on the import. So 0.5. Hit apply. Let's compare him to... I'm going to copy the player transform. Paste it onto the Pompadourian. Paste component values. That way we can kind of compare how big he is. Oh, that's
he
probably
is
about perfect.
tiny, yeah. Is he just going to be a head right now?
I'm going to actually put him on top. He's going to be this plus the head.
Neato.
Yeah, so I'm going to make it just slightly larger on the import.
0.75.
0.75. Apply. Now we can have big head mode by changing that now. So yeah, so what we're going to do is we're just going to attach him to the player. We're going to move him so that he looks like he should be there. Which way is the player facing? that direction. Perfect. So now we should have some kind of...
You move them up to 2.
Okay, what?
He was at like 1.94 decimal.
Oh, right, fine.
Nonsense.
I know. Bothers me too. Alright, so if we hit play now, we can actually see which direction he's facing now. That was the ultimate goal of this. This is officially the best art I've done on the show. Which tells you something. Tells you something.
That is fantastic.
So, yeah.
I like that his name is Pompadour.
I'm actually gonna, since this is part of a model material, I'm actually gonna create a new folder called textures here, and I'm gonna put his texture in here. So we'll have, these materials are kind of like the ones that we just apply to things, and these ones are ones that are designed for models. Sometimes
Sounds
you
good.
want to do that. What else do we want to do? So actually, I did something bad. This is something that you should never do. We pulled this in as a model when we should pull it in as prefab. So I'm gonna keep it for right now so that we can get the position information again. Actually, it's 2. Who cares? I'm gonna delete it. So we actually want to create a prefab out of this before. You never want to use models directly. If they have this little file indicator, you don't want to instantiate them, because what will happen is if you make any changes like to scale and any stuff in the engine, and then the file changes, like if you have your artist is like, oh yeah, I totally replaced your stupid programmer art with something that looks awesome, everything will break, and you don't want that. So what fixes that is we can just go to our prefabs here. I'm going to create a new prefab. And so this is an empty prefab. We're going to call him Pompadourian. I'm going to rename Pompadourian to Pompadourian Model.
Just a model.
And then...
It's only a model.
Why did that... I'm not going to think about that.
Just don't worry.
And then we just drag it onto here. And so it's not actually making it a child. It actually replaces it. When the prefab isn't anything, it actually just knows to become a real prefab. So then we instantiate this... We move it onto the player. Where is it?
Oh, no, we just need to move it to 2.
0, 0, 2. There you go. Just saw it happen in the play mode there. And then we hit play. And there we go.
Kind of like that little guy.
Yep. So we got a lot of things to fix, but we're making progress. We're having fun,
At least
learning
the camera
things.
isn't rattling anymore.
Camera's not rattling.
No shaking of the camera.
So I'm going to hit save scene. I'm going to hit save project. We're going to
gonna check
reconcile
that in.
our files and check all this stuff in. Reconcile offline work. Reconcile. Submit.
That's a lot.
Pompadourian.
That's all.
Also, code. And this will probably affect our
Stream
uploading. Yeah,
at
our
the
stream is
moment.
probably dying. No!
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Oh, it's done. Almost.
All right. Yay. So, that's it.
Just end the stream there.
Just stop. All right. Thank you for joining us. Hope you had a good time. We had a good time. If you have any questions, please email me, pushypixels@pushypixels.com. You can also tweet me at Dracfire. You should buy Phil's game, Robot Alone. It's on iOS. It's awesome. Robot Alone. Search for that.
Yep, that's all you have to search for. Or you can search for Philip Wilson. You'll find it that way, too. You should, if you want to, you can send me emails, philip@protosoftworks.com. I usually don't reply, but I do read them. And you can tweet at me, or you can follow me. Just be like a follower on my Twitter, which would be cool. I like followers. And sometimes I stream PS4 games every once in a while, so that's fun.
Yeah, watch for that.
And you should donate to Cooking with
Oh,
Unity.
yes. Yeah.
That's what you should
Today's
do.
rewards. I'm behind in them. So if you're expecting rewards really quickly, if you have a birthday coming up, it's not happening right now. I'm just letting you know. But I will be getting these going soon. As I said, my life has just it's in shambles, and it gets more interesting every day. We had snow like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, like 2 feet of snow over the weekend.
Yeah, and yeah, so I had to like dig my mom out today, so that was time spent, and I had to do other stuff like that. So I'm behind on this stuff. But if you donate $5 gets you a Pushy Pixels keychain. It's a little lightweight, plasticky thing, but it looks cool. $10 gets you 2 of these. One of them signed and with a little certificate of authenticity. $20 if you're in the U.S. gets you one of these. It's a coaster. If you are elsewhere in the world, $25 gets you one of these. And as I said, these aren't even printed yet. I don't have them done right now, and so I'm behind on orders for right now. But it will happen. You will get your stuff. It just is not going to be like next week. It's going to be as soon as I have time to actually do it. It may, I don't know, could happen next week, but I don't see it slowing down right now.
Undetermined amount of time.
Yeah, it's amazing how not having a job takes all my time, but it does. So, anyway, thank you very much for joining us tonight, and you guys have a great night.
Have a good night.